The Chicago Bears are very, very bad. This team is hard to watch this season. They're already 0-4 and just lost essentially the tank game of the year. The Bears and the Broncos both were 0-3 coming into the game, and somehow the Bears fumbled a 21-point lead and lost 31-28. There have quite literally been no positives with the Bears this season. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and it feels like it just keeps getting worse every single week. And for once, there was actually a glimmer of hope in week 4. They were dominating the Broncos, who a lot of people did think was the worst team in the league. They had just lost 70-20 to the Dolphins. They were 0-3 themselves, and the Bears jumped out to an early lead. They went up 28-7, and with the third quarter coming to a close, they were still up 28-7. The Broncos scored with 14 seconds left to make it 28-14. A 2-possession game with the Bears getting the ball to start the fourth quarter. And of course, Denver came storming back and they tied it at 28 off of a Justin Fields fumble with 6 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. That's when the Bears made some of the most questionable decisions we've seen from really any team this season. And this has been a common theme in Chicago, just bad decisions. With 3 minutes left in the game, the Bears are facing a 4th and short. It's a tie game, and the Bears are trying to get the Broncos to jump offsides for a first down. They don't end up jumping, so the Bears call a timeout, and then instead of kicking a 35-yard field goal, they go for it anyway, after already calling the timeout, and they didn't get it. The Broncos get the ball back, they give up a 47-yard pass, and then Denver hits a field goal, and the Bears lose to drop to 0-4. Just absolutely perplexed by the decision making in Chicago week in and week out. There is a silver lining, there is a bright side, and that's that if the season were to end today, the Chicago Bears would have the first overall pick and the second overall pick. There are only 2 winless teams in football, one of which is the Bears, who would have the first overall pick. The other is the Carolina Panthers, who would have the second overall pick, but they don't own the pick. The Bears do. Carolina traded it to Chicago to get Bryce Young at number 1. So at the very least, the Bears have a chance to have 2 of the top picks at the draft, but that's not really what they wanted coming into this season. They had some solid expectations coming into the year. A lot of people were hoping that Justin Fields was going to continue to improve, that maybe Matt Eberflus was finally going to start putting this together, and that just hasn't happened. They came into week 1 against the Packers, their huge rival, and a lot of people thought Chicago was going to win, and they didn't. They lost 38-20. That game was 38-14 late. It was embarrassing. Even with Aaron Rodgers moving on to Green Bay, it was clear that the Packers still owned the Bears. It didn't matter. They were still better. Then the following week, they played the Buccaneers and lost 27-17 to Baker Mayfield. Now, it does look right now like they might actually be the best team in the NFC South, so, we'll take that with a grain of salt, and that was a pretty close-ish game by Bears standards, but week 3 really wasn't. Everybody knows what happened week 3, and this was such a big game, and that's because Taylor Swift was there. It was the Taylor Swift game, the first game she went to, and the Bears got blown out. Justin Fields played terrible. They lost 41-10, and honestly, you see 41-10, and that's a terrible score to lose by. To make matters worse, they were down 41-0 at one point, and the Chiefs kind of took their foot off the pedal. They've just looked absolutely terrible. They have all season, and the whole team is just bad. Now, looking at another bright side, Justin Fields, he did just have the game of his life. He's had a rough NFL career so far. There's been a lot of problems, a lot of shortcomings, but he played very good in week 4. I think it's the best I've seen him play in week 4. Granted, it was against the Broncos, but he had the best QBR of his career, a 132.7. He threw for 4 touchdowns for the first time. He only had 1 pick, and he had 335 yards and completed 80% of his passes. He ended up starting 16 of 16. He was on fire to start this game. The Bears were on fire to start this game, and then it all just fell apart. It's very good that we can at least see some kind of progress from Justin Fields, and I didn't expect to see see much this season. Of course, it had to come against a really bad Broncos team, but Justin Fields, he has a shot. I still don't love him. I don't think he's the future in Chicago. I also don't think that they should give up on him right now, because it's very clear to me that he's not just this big problem for the Chicago Bears. He is not very good. I think Justin Fields is bad. When you watch the film on him, it's disappointing. I'm going to get back into that later, but there's so much more to it than Justin Fields. This Bears team is a bad team. There's not many positives to it. I don't believe in the coaching. I don't believe in the roster. I don't believe in any of it. If they continue to be bad and have those early picks, I absolutely think the Bears should go quarterback. I think they should fire Eberflus. I think they should completely clean this thing out and restart. Caleb Williams is going to be sitting there. Drake May is going to be sitting there if you don't get number one. They're going to have their options at quarterback. That being said, give Justin Fields the rest of the season. See if he can turn something into anything. It's been 2 years now. It hasn't been pretty, but year 3, maybe there's some kind of progression. Just, I doubt it. He hasn't been put in a spot to succeed, though. This Luke Getsy offense is terrible. The scheme is just awful. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't play to the strengths of Justin Fields. It doesn't try to get rid of any of his weaknesses. They just don't know what they're doing, and all of the pieces on it just aren't good. Darnell Mooney is out there running the wrong routes. He doesn't even look like he knows what he's doing. I honestly just feel bad for DJ Moore because I think he's a great player. He was in that trade to get Bryce Young first overall, and he had a lot of losing football in Carolina, and now it's even worse in Chicago. I couldn't get through an entire Bears video without bringing up Khalil Herbert, RB1 in Chicago. He's my favorite player that's ever played at Virginia Tech while I was there. Love Khalil Herbert to death. Played really well this past week and kind of gives me a reason to actually kind of root for the Bears. But man, this offense is bad. The offensive line is bad. The injuries haven't helped at all, but the unit already just not very good. All these things make life so much harder on Justin Fields, who isn't very good already. If you watch him, he just doesn't progress through his reads well. He's slow. He can't read the defenses very fast when you're in play. He doesn't know how to navigate the pocket. It's just hard to watch. I know Zach Wilson's gotten a lot of flack, but honestly, these two have a lot of similarities. They are just hard to watch. Now, take all the terrible things going on the field, and the Bears still have plenty of other issues and drama going on. The biggest one recently has been Chase Claypool. He's not even gonna be in the Bears building this week to prepare for the Thursday night football game against the Commanders, which I am planning on going to. Claypool this season has just not really seemed to care. He hasn't been running the same routes. He's just a complete disaster in Chicago. He seems like a locker room cancer at this point. He didn't even go to the Broncos game. They told him just stay home. And honestly, when they went up 28-7, you were like, hey, maybe Chase Claypool is the problem. We're talking about a guy that had back-to-back 800-yard seasons with the Steelers to start his pro career, and then he was traded for a second rounder to the Bears. The Bears needed to get a wide receiver for Justin Fields, and he just sucked. To make matters even worse, that pick ended up being 32nd overall, and Pittsburgh used it on Joey Porter, who I think has already looked fantastic as a rookie. I truly don't even have a good positive to give you about the Chicago Bears. Everything is going wrong in Chicago. They can't win in the trenches. They don't have enough talent on the field. Their quarterback is not good. I don't believe in their coaching staff. I don't believe in their management. This is just a complete top to bottom failure for the Bears. Matt Eberflus has been a complete disaster in Chicago. I never liked the hire. I still don't. It's a complete mess. Justin Fields isn't good. And honestly, he's never really been given a chance. And you can argue that Eberflus has never even been given a true chance. The Bears are very quickly becoming the laughingstock of the league. At least with the Panthers, you're grooming Bryce Young. You're in year 1 with Frank Reich. You're trying to build upon other things. The Bears have nothing. They need to completely clean house, completely restart this thing over, and use those top draft picks to rebuild. Take Caleb Williams, get a new head coach, and restart this thing over. I feel like we had this situation before with Mitch Trubisky. It was like, okay, restart. Now we're doing it again with Justin Fields, but that's just what it is. And for what it's worth, Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy were much better than Justin Fields and Matt Eberflus have ever looked. I really do just feel awful for you Bears fans. This completely sucks. You're going through this again. But look at the bright side. Caleb Williams has to go somewhere. Thanks for watching, guys. If you don't already, make sure you follow us on social media, follow our socials, and stay up to date everything J&D Productions. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.